Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Rob Bergeron. Thanks for being on the show, Rob.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Rob is a realtor in Louisville, Kentucky that is all about value add and collaboration. He has discovered how to make multiple streams of a relatively passive income by bringing value to his market. He's a board member of the local REIA and is a proud go-giver. So I appreciate just that mindset, Rob, and you just being willing to shed light on that. I can't stress it enough. I feel like so many of us, you're getting started. You're only thinking about me, right? And you're not thinking so much about the long term. Obviously, when you're doing that, but I look forward to getting into just how you've done that, how it's obviously paid you in such a big way to just think about how to add value to others and collaborate. But give us a little more about who you are, and let's jump into that so the listeners can do the same.
Sure. My name is Rob Bergeron, originally from Springboro, Ohio. Graduated from the University of Kentucky, lived in Florida, Ecuador after for a little bit, and then came to Louisville to be a real estate agent. I didn't know anyone, so I had to get creative on how to insert myself into the business. Started advertising on Craigslist, and I made it a game, so I was real aggressive. If anyone posted one post on Craigslist, I would do 50 to knock theirs off. And then there was 20 people in the space, and eventually it was just me competing against one person because I was so aggressive with it. I ended up picking up a client named Hampton Skurlock, who's also on the board with me on our local REIA. And he liked me because I was responsive and I was quick, and he was buying relatively cheap properties, and I would just be Johnny on the spot. And then everybody knew Hampton, and they assumed if Hampton worked with me, they should work with me too. And then I was like, well, shoot, I got to learn all this investment stuff. I thought I was going to work with geriatrics. And then it's awesome because now you're getting paid to learn how to do all these things. So the more I learn, the better I serve my clients, the better I serve myself. So so now I've been involved, and I kind of go to every meetup. You can't not see me. I'm everywhere. And I like it. They're my friends now, and it's just an excuse to hang out. So COVID's been a little tough in that regard, but man, I can't imagine being a new realtor trying to get started with COVID, but no, that's beside the fact. But so I'm creative. I'm an odd bird. I really like my time to be my time. So I make sure that I'm deliberate and creating systems and whatnot to make sure I can serve as many people as possible, but also keep that work-life balance.
Awesome. I want to dive into that in a minute as well, because I think it's so crucial in scaling. And you talked about one thing you just said is you can't not see me. And I think that's you have to have some good systems to be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I want to jump into that, but I thought you could also, what's a way, also another way that you could see the listeners being able to add value like you have, or to be able to collaborate with key people, while adding value to gain success.
Sure. So one thing I did 7 years ago, I started when I got my license, I ran comps for anyone. And I do it to this day. I say, hey, you email me an address in a Bed Bath town, I'll run comps. I don't care if I'm part of the deal, if it's you have an agent and you're working with them. I just want to make sure you're getting in at the right price. So I'm doing value add, and I'm asking for nothing in return. And so I think I've saved people from getting in at the wrong price. I've got the wholesalers good tools for negotiating. But I started doing that. And then recently I started a Moving to Louisville group, which is supposed to add value to my clients because they can advertise to get tenants for free. I don't charge anything. I get to post all the articles I read on the news. I know everything going on in the news. I check the news 8 times a day, 5 different websites. It's part of my system. And I like knowing, so it's not work to me. But I post articles in there about who's hiring, what new restaurants are going in, whatnot. And then I have the people joining the group ask me, I ask them questions. Are you looking to rent or buy? If they're looking to buy, I refer it out to people to manage the buyers. So I'm creating passive income there as well. And so that's been great. And so everyone's winning. Then recently, I'm not handy at all. I'm the least handy person ever. You're never going to see me with drywall dust on my hands because I would ruin everything. But I bought an industrial blower for all the leaves in the back of my yard. It's like, well, shoot, I'm going to use this 3 times a year, but I think other people could use it. So I started a real estate tool share program where basically people listed all the tools that they had available. And then people can post, hey, I'm looking for this. And then we're just sharing and collaborating. So for home renovation projects for themselves or their properties, they don't have to go out and rent things, borrow things. The overhead can go down quite a bit. Now, I don't really gain anything, but it's goodwill. It just kind of helps out. And I think there's like a lot of things that are like, it's important on our local RIA page and on my Facebook page. When I read the news and I see something that'll affect property values or help their tenants, or, people are looking for jobs, I'll post some jobs like, hey, they're hiring 1,000 people. Like that just adds value and it gives a reason for people to come to my page. I'm never sending out fluff. But think about this, the Louisville network, which I don't know if I've talked about, but when I ran comps for all the wholesalers, eventually I said, hey guys, let's unite all the gangs, kind of like this movie called Warriors from 1979. And essentially, I signed an NDA with all the wholesalers. They all gave me their buyers list. I already have a great plug in David Green out on the West Coast. So I have a ton of buyers from out there. So now they upload their assignable contracts to my website. I run a CMA and then send them out. It goes out to 4,500 people. So I get touches every single day with a potential new off-market deal. And our MLS only has 1,100 single family properties. So I kind of think I'm responsible for like maybe 2 to 3% of every property sold in our market. Just because, and then realtors used to really hate it. And then now they're seeing the value in it and they're signed up for it for themselves and for their clients. It's just really cool. And so I inserted myself there. So my name's everywhere because I'm touching people all the time, but I'm not taking anything away from anyone else. And it's fun.
No, I just like this mindset of the adding value, and in the real estate tool sharing program. That's very interesting. I've not heard of that before. But I want to jump into just the systems that you have for a moment or for a few minutes, because I think, like having that ability to add value quickly and think that way is important, right? But I know even like myself, just adding value, like having an assistant or a really good assistant has helped me a lot to add value quickly to other people, or numerous assistants that do different things and they know how, what to do, or maybe what I would do to help different people. And so we can do it faster, right? And be more responsive. But how have you done that? Tell us some systems that you have. Have you hired people? Have you hired specific people with certain skills, or, who are these people and how do you do it?
Sure. Yes, I have this amazing admin named Colleen. We have a really great structure where I pay her monthly and then bonuses based predicated on how much money I make per month. She handles all the contract to close, uploads all my contracts to the MLS. Really, she orders the picture. She does all that stuff. And we're like best friends. We get along very well. We have a great working relationship. I drop off coffee and stuff at her house all the time. We like hanging out with each other, tell her my weird dreams I have and all this stuff. Like, it's just a lot of fun. I'm a huge proponent of you can book me. People were just calling me up all the time, and I'm ADD, so I have to stay focused on what I'm doing. So now I have a link in all my emails. It's everywhere. I have them schedule a time so I can mentally brace myself for this conversation I'm going to have. And I'm really well rehearsed. People don't usually have questions because I know exactly what they want to know. And so essentially, I have all these fishing lines out too in that regard, where I have a 20-minute conversation up front. I get them set up on the Louisville Network drips. I introduce them to all my sphere of influence with my team, if you will, property management, contractor, title, hard money. They have everybody. I put them all in an email. They get to know them, title, of course. And so really the only time they reach out to me is when they want to buy something. So I never worry, where is the next deal coming from? I know what's going to happen. And then the cool thing is most realtors, like there's some realtor friends I have who sell 2 properties a month, but they're $500,000 properties. But they do everything to keep those deals together. If the numbers don't work, the numbers don't work. I don't take anything personal. I have a lot of benefit in being in a market that's just phenomenal for investing. So it just makes it a lot easier. You put me in LA and who knows what kind of realtor I'd be out there. But so I use those a lot. The Louisville Network's awesome because they do all the front work. So all I do is run the CMA and send it out, and then give people how to get in, access, etc. So I don't know. I am very, very good with my systems. And then I had this problem where everybody was Facebook messaging me, calling me, all the stuff. And so now I make sure comps go through email, and I set the precedent. Then I don't take calls after 9 p.m. unless I'm negotiating a deal, and I don't receive calls until 9 a.m. So that time is my time. And my beautiful girlfriend, she works a 9 to 5 at a hospital, and she's an executive there. And I try to make sure when she's off work, I'm available to hang out with her. And she's so generous. She's going to all these meetups with me and learning all this stuff. And she took a class while I was taking a class this past Saturday. So I have a good partner in that regard too. So we'll be doing, some burrs and flips together as well. But I also started a wholesale company that leverage everyone's strengths. I'm an idiot in so many things. I'm really good at like 3 or 4 things. And so I have this guy named John Farber who manages operations, and he has our acquisition specialist and 2 VAs, manages our lists and how we're reaching out, et cetera. I have a boots on the ground guy named Joe who negotiates and takes pictures, lockbox, everything. And then I send things out on the Louisville network. I list it on the MLS if we close on it. And then I run comps. So I stuck to what I was good at. And so now my goal is to have 7 businesses before I retire. And I bet it'll end up being like 14, 20, because I just have a lot of weird ideas. And one thing I'm working on 2 projects right now. One's called the Louisville Financial Network, where I let private money offer up what terms they're willing to loan on, but no identifiers on how to get a hold of them. And then I have the investors reach out to me. So think about it. I have a way for these people to source their money. And then like I have the deals and I have a way to source the money. The more they know each other, the more deals I get to move. So it's just a value add. Sometimes you just need money for like 10 minutes. Well, now I'll have local people that can do that out of their IRA, HELOC, whatever. And then another thing I'm working on, there's a lot of obscure auction websites for real estate. So I'm going to create a website that populates all of those in one spot. And I'm going to charge a $10 monthly subscription. So I get 30 members, then I'm bringing in $300 a month. And it's just like having a rental. And I don't know if you've noticed, most of the stuff I'm doing makes me not a direct competitor to my clients. It makes me add value to them. So they know like I'm not being a jerk. And the only time I buy something is if I generate it myself, typically. It gets weird sometimes, but I've also offered with my clients to put my commission towards their down payment on these larger multifamilies and becoming a silent partner in those regards, just to get my tentacles out into more things. But yeah, I don't know. Those are
wow. So I want to jump in because you listed many things there I want to highlight. And I think it's interesting, even just the mindset behind being willing to start so many businesses, being willing to step out there and be that active. Most people are so hesitant to do the first thing, right? I mean, it's that fear of failure. And I want to get to that, but I wanted to back up just a little bit. You mentioned right off the bat, like your assistant, this lady that helps you paying her monthly, but then you're also giving her a bonus, based on your income. What was the thoughts behind that? How has that worked out? I've had different trains of thoughts around that, or, thought through how do we provide bonuses even to our employees, things like that. How has that worked? Is that very motivating to them? Is that something you see doing long-term?
She's not motivated by it at all, not remotely. But I like to reward. I know if I'm making that much money, she's doing extra work. And, Harry Borders, he pays his employees. He's one of our local attorneys. He pays them above and beyond what they're worth. And so I want to be that way too, because I don't want to get the rich on someone else's back. I want them to rise up with me as well. And actually, we started a Choose FI meetup, Choose Financial Independence. So she's really into that sector too. So it's a good merging too. I started a group for that, a meetup. And so that brings in people that weren't thinking about real estate, but they wanted financial independence. I don't know. It's just, you can merge so many worlds together, but yeah, she's amazing. I just wanted the bonus to show that I appreciated her. And originally it was this, like, let's just say 30,000, and I would give her a $500 bonus every time I made $30,000. Well, what I did is I cut the bonus in half. And so it's steps of every 15. So she, even if I don't have a great month and I only make 15,000, then she's going to get some type of bonus instead of just having to hit that 30,000. So she would work the same amount either way, but I think she appreciates that I, give a damn.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate that in a big way. I mean, we try to do, I love that mindset too, of paying them above what they, maybe what the market or the industry would typically pay for something or for that talent or skill set. I think keep people, if you have good people, you're going to keep them a lot longer that way for sure, which pays you a lot in the long run. But something else you mentioned, and it just sounds like, you said, you stated, I'm not saying this, but you stated you're an idiot at lots of things. But it sounds like, what you are really good at, though, focusing on what you're good at and delegating, all right? You see opportunities, you're willing to jump on that. Elaborate on that. That is a skill set that's crucial for any entrepreneur. How did you develop that? How are you not, there doesn't seem like much fear of failure, but you're willing to move forward and focus on what you're good at, but then find teams or people that are good at the other things. Just elaborate on that and how you've done that.
Well, one thing, if you guys are going to take anything away from this episode, is someone back in the day planted this seed in my head. Rob, you have a lot of really great ideas. And then, maybe a couple other people reinforce that. And then I was like, you know what? I have a lot of really good ideas. And then it made me kind of fearless in presenting these ideas. And so I have a group chat with some of my good friends. I'm like, hey guys, what about this? What about this? And people are creating some of my ideas like that I had 4 years ago. I'm like, shoot, I should have done that. But I just got surrounded by a lot of really wonderful people. I am a product of those around me. My girlfriend, she's in charge of like errors and grievances at our hospital. I'm like, you know what? I bet you'd be really good at managing general contractors because I'm a pushover. Like, oh yeah, just get it done when you can. But I bet she won't be like that. So I don't know. I'm very fortunate. My stepmom told me that one of my superpowers, I look at things as superpowers, by the way, is that I surround myself with just excellent people. Like when I was single, I had time to listen to podcasts while I was driving instead of talking to my girlfriend. So at that time, I looked at being single as a superpower in that regard. So I really, truly believe, like when I have clients that live in more rural areas, I'm like, that's your superpower. I was like, no one's competing with you in rural areas, even to you, are even more rural to the people local here. So I think I read a book called Level Up Your Life. That's kind of where that stems from. But I'm very well read. I like to read as well. And I like to pick up nuggets. I recently switched over to Blink. So because the business books can be a lot to chew on. And I have ADD, so I can usually knock a book out in an hour now. And that's been good. Pull out all the main things. And if I don't think I'm grasping it, even then, I'll just read the regular book. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's just so many opportunities out there. I'm overwhelmed sometimes about all the things you can do in real estate. So I need an integrator, and I find that in other people. But yeah, I don't know. And everything's fun. Honestly, I don't.
So obviously, yeah, you would be more towards the visionary, I think, but you've also been good at integrating by finding other people, it sounds like, or being willing to partner. Is there a way that you've learned that though? I just wanted to ask another question about that though, because I feel like it's such a good skill as an entrepreneur. It reminds me of the book, Who Moved My Cheese, right?
I just read that last year. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah. So, it reminds me of that. And so the listener knows there are even a child's version of that. Even when my boys were like 4 and 5, they loved reading that. We could sit down in one session and read that. It's just great. For them as well to start thinking that way. But you do, you're thinking that way and you're not afraid of failure. You're willing to make all this happen and keep pushing. Is there something that say happened to you 10 years ago, or is there a book that you read 2 years ago or something that helped you to develop that mindset that was like, hey, I'm going to push and make this happen and not be afraid to fail?
Well, it's okay. The Go-Giver, I think, is like the most important book to me investment wise. But I think I was the kid in class who always talked to the person next to me, and then they would have to move me around in class. But the teachers really knew I was a good kid, and I was pretty smart, I suppose. But they didn't try to smother that and get rid of that. And I think those kind of skills translate so well to the real world. My parents didn't try to push that down either. Maybe a little Adderall back in the day, but I don't know. I always say I grew up in a magical place. Everybody was so supportive and kind. And I don't know. I grew up with parents that were very generous, with helping people. They taught a class called Celebrate Recovery to help people get their life back in order in a positive way. And so I don't know. I think I've just been very blessed, and I hung out with my friends so much growing up. I kind of felt like I was raised by a wolf pack, and they were all just really great people. I ran cross country, and I always think the cross country kids are really good, but we were doing rope swings and stuff like that. I don't know, instead of getting into too much trouble, but I don't know. I don't know. I think if you have a child that has ADD, look at it as a positive, as a superpower, instead of as something that you need to refine. Because in the real world, Frank Miller, who's a local investor, former president, he says that, it's the hands you shake that make things happen and open up all these doors. So I'm a firm believer in that as well. Yeah.
The hands you shake. Or say that again, the hands you shake or what opens up the doors?
I misquoted it. It's more hands you shake, the more deals you make, or something like that is what he says. But yeah. And then with COVID, when you're not really shaking hands, but I don't know. I'm very fortunate.
Rob, in our current state of real estate, and just the current market, do you have any predictions over the next 6 to 12 months?
Okay, so we're like a turtle, slow to rise, slow to fall, in Louisville, Kentucky. But I would say the whole Midwest collectively is in really great shape. Like I would invest in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati, not as much Dayton, but like Columbus is killing it right now. Tennessee, Indianapolis, like I love all those areas. I think the East and West Coasts are like kind of in trouble a little bit because with everything kind of being shut down, people are paying for the expense of being out there, but not getting all the tangible benefits. So in Kentucky, we only have Lexington and Louisville as the major cities. So we're about to reap a lot of the benefits of those people kind of moving home, but to the big cities. Office space is going to be a problem. Airbnbs is going to be way lucrative because so many people like turned them into long-term rentals or just sold them off as flips. So I think our market's going to be great. We had 11% appreciation this past year, and it's because there's nowhere to build. And we lost a lot of builders in 2008. And the interest rates are ridiculous. So it's the perfect storm. People are going to migrate a little bit more rural. So even here, I think some of the more rural country or counties are going to pick up a lot of new builds. And you're seeing that already. I just think there's a lot of opportunity out there. I mean, we only have 1,100 houses on our market. When I started 7 years ago, we had 5,000 single family homes on the market. So it is tight. I could imagine being like a buyer's agent right now.
Do you have any daily habits that you're disciplined about that have helped you achieve success?
Okay. Yes, I do actually. So I get up, I make this thing called Fancy Drink, which is just Mio and water. And I drink about 100 ounces of water a day. That's like the goal. And I make coffee, and then I sit and read the news. I go to Reddit Louisville. I go to WDRB, WLKY, and Courier Journal, and I'm a member on Courier Journal. And if I see anything that'll add value, I post it and let everybody know about it. I do that every morning. Then I read my emails. I see if I have any deals to send out on the Louisville network. And that's it. And then like my schedule, I don't have anything for the next 2 days, but today I'm showing someone some properties from California, but I like to leave my schedule open a lot. So that way, if someone really needs me, I can serve them at that time. And then, I can recharge. And so I come up with a lot of my ideas, just reading and thinking. I sit in my hammock all the time. It's cold right now, so I don't right now, but I'm in the hammock just thinking and hanging out. I love having people over to hang, like literally. But no, I don't know. And then just trying to get out. I go to Chipotle. My CPA 2 years ago said I went to Chipotle 99 times. So I take a lot of Chipotle lunches because you can get in and out quickly. There's no tips or anything, so you can leave when you want. And then everybody can find something that accommodates their diet. So it just seems like a win-win for everybody. But yeah, I don't know. And then I know everything that's going on in our market, like on the news and then events. So I make sure to get out to about 75% of those.
Nice. Well, what about your, and maybe you talked about this briefly, but just what's your best source right now for meeting new investors or clients?
I don't know. It's strange, but they all just find me somehow. So I think whatever I'm doing is working. I would say going to the meetups, but you can't just go 1 or 2 times. You have to go consistently, and you need to be the smartest guy in the room. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I know what's going on, and I know who the smartest guy in the room is. So if you have a question, I'm like, hey, I don't really know this very well, but you need to go talk to Harry Borders or Chris McCarty or Jordan Pone or something like that. And I think there's a lot of value in that. And then I don't ever really ask for anything in return. So I think there's the rule of reciprocity, but sometimes if you're just being nice to everyone, it's easy to end your day, So I just try to offer value and don't expect anything in return. Harry Borders always says, I never miss a meal because I, spend a little extra time helping somebody. And that's so true.
And what's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Gosh, having amazing people around me that because I guess 2 years ago, I had sleep apnea. I weighed 220 pounds. I'm 5'6". And so I lost all that weight just with keto. And then I started Pelotoning, which was a business write-off as well, which was kind of cool. So losing all that weight, I just found a new zeal. I was able to read and like think and process. And so that was a huge catalyst for change. So if you aren't sleeping well, like go get that checked out. Like it will change your life. You'll feel younger. And then you don't have to overeat calories either to get your energy. And so that's been a huge game changer. And I'm very thankful. Like everybody was supportive around me for that as well. So I don't know, just surround yourself with amazing people.
I know we've talked about this a lot on the show, but I wanted to ask you anyway, because I ask everybody, is how you like to give back.
Okay, so I'm in charge of fundraising for Home of the Innocents, which helps people that are phasing out of foster care, get their life together, like have a place to live. So I'm really involved there. I went on a trip with Harry Borders last year and did this hand-to-hand where we built a house. And I realized it only cost $8,000 to build a house and change someone's life forever. So one thing that I'm going to be rolling out, and I've talked to my CPA, I've talked to my broker, I've talked to the attorney. I'm going to start offering my services to silent auctions for nonprofits. So I'm going to lower my commission by like 0.25. So they're paying to get me at a reduced discount a little bit. The profits there go to the nonprofit. But then when I sell the property, I won't take any commission at all. I will donate 100% of the commission back to the property. So if I did a silent auction with Home of the Innocents and then sold 2 houses for, I don't know, $400,000, they would be essentially getting $10,000 for me, which means I just changed a family's life forever. So my goal is to do about $50,000 and giving back to nonprofits, Make-A-Wish, things of that nature. And my logic is it's not going to take away from any of my current business, but it's something I can do. And I have such good systems that it's not going to add a lot of work to my real life either. And then my admin Colleen, she is really likes to give back too. So when we can add value in that regard, like we both feel really great about ourselves.
No, that's incredible. Appreciate you sharing that. I just think having that give back mentality is so important, and just thinking through that, and even being strategic like you are about giving back in a big way. And how you even said it's not going to take you away from your business or your other income really, but it's a way that you can add significant value and change a family's life forever, right? Yeah. I mean, just drastically. So, but Rob, great interview. I appreciate you breaking down some of the, I love your mindset, really, just no fear really of failure, and just being willing to step out and find people that are good at those things that you claim you're not good at, but you're probably not giving yourself enough credit. But really, because I just think it's a learned ability. I think, at some point, in someone's life, you're learning to be able to be aggressive in that way and not, act just based on fear. And it's so big as an entrepreneur to be able to do that. Rob, how can people find you and learn more about you?
Sure. On Twitter, I'm Robert Bergeron, at Robert Bergeron, Rob Bergeron on Facebook and Instagram. And then you can always book me on my calendar. I'm always happy to help. And the crazy thing is, even if I don't live in your market, I can still run comps. So if you guys ever need comps in anywhere, like some of these states are non-disclosed, like Indiana and stuff like that, but I'm happy to help, just to make sure you're getting a good deal wherever you live.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.